Hello again, and welcome back to Submachine 1, the basement. So basically, the previous video I was just exploring, finding things, mostly not solving any puzzles yet, just picking up items and pulling levers. But we've explored almost every room now. It's a very small game, so I should be able to finish in about 10 minutes. We just read a note from a crazy person, it would seem. I mean, if you've played any video games or really consumed any media, you know that this guy is going to turn out to not be crazy and all of this will be true. But let's all just go with it for now. We're just reading some sort of crazy note that was left in this location for some reason we don't know. I hope you're a fan of random journal logs, because this series is full of them. This room doesn't seem to have anything interactable. This looks important, but I can't interact with it yet. So let's move on. Let's go left. We got a box here. Not the greatest perspective on that box. We got that going on. Something there. Okay. Some kind of 4-digit code. Okay, every puzzle game's got to have one of those. We'll come back to that once we know what the heck the code is. There isn't anything in here that would suggest, and of course these objects don't. Let's go here. We got some bells and some boxes. I can't touch the boxes, but the bells are all interactable. I click on that, some boxes rise in the air. Seems that each bell is tied to a particular set of boxes. So it's one of these. Figure out which combination of bells. What if I do all of them? All of them. 2 of them are still down. And there is a bell that corresponds to these 2. It was this one. Yep, I'm right. That opens up something there. Click it, and we get tile D, the existence of which implies tiles A through C. So let's keep our eyes out for more of that. Let's go back. This is the only way we haven't gone yet. So I'm going to head here. Pipe that, I can't touch that or these. Oh, we can touch these, though. Doesn't seem to do anything yet, but we'll come back to that. Here's bulbs with wires going to a panel we can't interact with. So we've seen these before. In the last video, we looked at what I was calling the power generator that needs power to generate more power. And I guess if you turn that on, then it sends power to here. But what that does, we don't know yet. We do have a coin on the ground, an ancient coin. In the original version of this game, this was just a euro coin, like a €1 or something. Because the original game was not connected to anything, it was just a puzzle box, so why not set it in Poland, where Skutnik is? But then when he changed it to the Submachine, which doesn't exist in any known country, possibly not even in our dimension, we'll see about that in a minute, we had to make the coin look like something from that dimension, and so we lost the original clue that was on the coin. So the solution to this is not the most elegant retcon I've ever seen, but it does work. If you hover over this, it gives you a 4-digit number at the bottom of the screen, and I think that's just a representation of you reading these as numbers and knowing what they are because you exist in a universe where this makes sense. Again, not super elegant. You do this like, oh, you're just giving me the code if I hover over this there. Not to criticize too much, Skutnik did have to retcon that, and so it was a solution that worked. So a 4-digit number obviously is going to come back to this. So what was that again? 4432? Excellent. And we heard something. Yep, the box opens. This wonderful perspective on the box. And inside it looks like one of those fuses. Yep. So we know what to do with that. Also, I think I know what this is for now. So I'm going to remember vertical, vertical, horizontal. Back in this room, yeah, these things we can set up. So if we set this as the correct combination, according to that thing, but for what, we don't know yet. So I'll keep going. So back to the fuse box. And that obviously turned something on, probably the generator, which we'll look at in a moment. But while I'm here, this device that we remember from the previous video had 2 green lights and 1 red light. When we pulled the last of 3 levers, all the lights are green, so it turns on, and we have tile C. All right. We still can't do anything with this pipe. Let's keep going. So we've done everything we can in the lower areas. Let's go back up to the top. Let's go to the generator. So if I pull the lever now, it turns on, but nothing seems to happen. So let's come back later. Over here, we've got this pipe with the circle from way back at the beginning. Maybe this fits right on it. And if so, there. We hear the sound of something happening. Now, I waited till then to put the valve on there once I'd solved all the pipe puzzles, because if you put the valve on here earlier, it doesn't do anything. Like, you can put it on, but nothing happens. So you have to wait till I solve all the rest of the puzzles anyway, which we'll see in a moment here. This we're still looking for. So turning the valve breaks this. We heard something break in some water, so I used those audio clues to figure out where to go. But you can also just know that what rooms featured pipes, and that was a puzzle featuring pipes. Honestly, this game is so small that if you just check every room, it only takes 10 or so seconds, you'll find this. So this looks like it belongs in that clock. So we head back there. So you see how you kind of wander around till you see something you can do. Nothing really makes sense, but at the same time the puzzles do have a logic to them. So we've done everything it seems we can, and these triangles really look like they fit there. So we're just missing one. And we're out of items to use. These are things we can look at, and the spoon doesn't have an obvious use. We turned on the power down here, but nothing seems to be happening. So this is the one puzzle in the game that I'd say is not my favorite. I'd say it doesn't follow the logic of the other puzzles. Like, if you're following along and you've never played, you can see how the puzzle solutions can be arrived at. So you have a valve on a pipe. Turning it is going to change pipe pressure in some way. You have these other rooms with pipes. Clearly those rooms are all connected in a puzzle style. You have a coin with a 4-digit number. You're supposed to use that number. Here's a puzzle that doesn't quite fit in the box that way. The only saving grace is there's really only one item left to use, and there's really only one place left to use it, so brute forcing won't take that long. But you can use the spoon here and put it right on the bulbs. Really, if you click anywhere close, it'll do it. And that'll short out the power. So you have to figure out that you need to turn the power off after you turn it on, and by forcibly blowing the power, you open this panel and get the last tile. It's tile A, but very likely the final one you collect. And once we do that, we can put it in here. But before I do that, let's see if we also blew the power. There, yep, we did. Which blew off this panel, revealing another lever. And on pulling it, we hear something. So if you remember from the very beginning of the game, up here, there was that closed hatch. It's open now. We can go up and collect this gem. So this is an extra thing. You don't have to collect it to beat the game, but you can, I guess. Yet one more retcon to fit the game into the series as a whole, because this gem comes into play in a later game, in actually most of the later games, and so it was added to make this game fit a little better. It's up to you whether that is a good retcon or not. So now we can put this in here, having collected everything in the game. And there we are. We're teleported to this red room with a door, elevator, I guess. And like every elevator, once you arrive at your stop, you have to press the down button to open the door. And look at that, we've escaped. It's a bit of an artistic rendering of an outside world, but there you go. And if you played the original game before Skutnik ever released a sequel, then it would tell you you've escaped the Submachine. Obviously, we have not escaped because there are 10 games and not one. So that was changed later. So there you go. That's Submachine 1: The Basement. Where would I rank this in the series as a whole? Well, we'll see as I play more games where it fits. I'll have to say, though, this is not my favorite by far. It's not my least favorite either. there is a game, at least one I like less than this one. But it doesn't really have any connection to the later games. Even with the retcons, it's a bit of a weak connection. Later games keep referencing this one, which does help a little bit, but if this game didn't exist, it still could... The series could still flow just fine. Don't know how else to say it. It's still a fun game to play, and the puzzles are nice. Like, if you've never played before, it's not really that much of a brain buster. You can beat it in a few minutes. A fun little way to pass the time. Once you add the rest of the series in, it helps, makes the game a little bit more interesting. The lore that is there, it does connect, and we'll see that happen in later games, but otherwise it seems very disjointed. Like, puzzles don't mean anything. There's just a device you have to use here for no reason, and then a device over there you have to use for no reason. And later games are way better about connecting the puzzles to two elements in the actual game world. Excuse me. Submachine isn't real. It can't hurt you. So that is the first game, and I hope that's interesting enough for now, me trying out this Let's Play thing. And in the next video, I will start on the sequel, which is immediately better. Like, starting in the second game, the art style gets kicked up a notch, and the puzzles are way more interesting, and there's a whole lot of extra stuff we can take a look at. So until then, thank you so much for watching. Do all the things you're supposed to do with YouTube videos, and I'll see you then. Bye.